Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 106 of the Empowering Industry Podcast. It's coming out February 14th, Valentine's Day. So I had to sport my red here. I'm your host. Oh, yeah, I did notice, actually. I did notice. So I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm joined by my co-host, the beautiful Bethany Womack.
Thank you, Charli. Happy Valentine's Day to you and everybody listening to the podcast. We really appreciate you coming back every Monday to hang out with us, celebrate with us, and listen to us give you some social media advice, listen to us preview news for Empowering Pumps and Equipment, and then bring you an industry interview. And I think we've done a really good job kind of weaving everything together this week. We've got a good personal branding episode and podcast episode for you. But before we get to all of that, I know the answer to this because you and I were together a little bit this week, Charli. But tell everybody how your week was.
Yeah, well, I started my week in Houston. So Sunday I flew in and I got to stay at a hotel, which was really nice. And then I got to transition to Bethany's house. Her and Mark are great hosts, by the way. And I get to see the kids. And so I just love it. I mean, I could just sit there and play. And I don't know that I'm a great, person to play with toddlers anymore. I don't know. You'll have to let me know. But Bowen likes me. So that makes me happy.
And he's a little particular. And she made eggs for us for breakfast. Like anybody who feeds them, the boys are going to love. So okay, I'm just saying.
Don't tell Carter. I hope he doesn't listen to this. He'll be expecting me to make eggs every morning. So I just had a great week personally. And then professionally, we went on a tour, which you can talk about, Bethany. But it was fabulous to be around equipment and the energy of people who love to develop others. So yeah, tell me about your side of the week.
Yeah, so you and I toured San Jacinto College, which is down in Pasadena. It's just outside of Houston. If you're familiar with Houston at all, that's where all the plants are, basically. It's on the south. I'm terrible with directions. South something side of Houston, okay? Where
it looked like it was surrounded by the plants.
Yes, driving in, you see hundreds and hundreds of plants. And for one, it's a good appreciation of the type of industry we have here and the economy that we support here in Houston. But at this college, what they do is they train people to go work in these plants. They train people for the industry. They train engineers. We got 2-year degrees, 4-year degrees, and people leave there with a job, for one, because they have so much industry coming through, and they leave with all of these skills that they learn to be operators in the fields and the plants. It was just really cool, honestly, to see all of the training things they had there and to get to walk through and wear a hard hat and talk to these educators who are so passionate about connecting the next generation in our workforce with industry. And stay tuned, empowering brands, empowering pumps. We've got some exciting things coming up on that front.
We do. We won't spoil it yet, but you can imagine anytime we get excited about something, which I'm excited about our announcements today. We are going to have our Sustainability Summit today, if you're listening to this, on the 14th. So it's live on the 14th, but it is on demand. And we've got just an unbelievable lineup. I love doing these summits because we get to pull on our resources and our network to bring in top talent to discuss things like sustainability. This one, we're going to talk about and have a panel about sustainability and ESG. Personally, I want to know a little bit more about it and really dive into the sustainable development goals and what we can do. And then HJ from ABB talking about the energy movement and the unsung heroes. That will be a favorite, as always. I really am thankful for him kind of jumping into the sustainability world. Last time we talked about circular economy, and if you haven't read that, it was in our digital magazine.
It's deep. It's worth the read for sure.
It is. And, then we're going to, kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. I'm excited to have panels around this. Blanca and Shantae, they both have talked with us about sustainability before and change management. And so I think we're going to learn a lot. And if we bring our questions, it'll be super dynamic. So I hope if you're listening to this, you jump on over and join us at the summit.
Yes, this event is free to attend. You just got to go click the link. You can join on in, ask questions. And like Charli said, if you miss it on Monday, it's on demand, available for you to listen back and see what all we talked about. I think it's a wonderful way to spend Valentine's Day talking about sustainability. Love it. Okay, let's get social. This is where we're going to fill you in on something you need to know going on in social media in the industry. And we start with Manufacturing Monday.
Look at you. Transitions today are going great. Okay, so our manufacturer is Armstrong Fluid Technology, which I thought was like wonderful, all the stuff that Becca did while she was at AHR. And so check that out. If you haven't seen it, go online, AHR Expo. So Armstrong Fluid Technologies, they have, more than 1,000 employees worldwide, operating 7 manufacturing facilities on 3 continents. And so they are known as one of the world leaders and innovators in design, engineering, and manufacturing of integrated solutions for residential, commercial, and industrial applications. I love all of their pump technology, but it goes beyond that. So look them up. And of course, we're going to link to that in the show notes. I just love them. Yeah. Thanks.
And what Charli mentioned at the top was we just this morning, hot off the presses, posted a video with Becca in their booth at AHR, just talking about the new technology that they're offering. It's a really fun video. Definitely check it out. Highly recommend it. And it just makes me retroactively sad that I wasn't also at AHR.
Same. Oh, I miss that a lot, actually.
Yes. So other things you don't want to miss out on is we want to invite you to our virtual meetups that we have coming up next. The next one for Empowering Women is going to be Wednesday, March 9th. That's every second Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And we have a couple of new things that we're offering through Empowering Women meetups. And I wanted Charli to explain them to you because you're the one who put them together and we're excited to be able to offer those.
Yes. So I am really excited because somebody reached out to me. Her name is Stacy Cassio, and she was our mentor of the year for Empowering Women in Industry. She runs her own business, and it's called Pink Mentor Network. And she said, "Hey, I'm ready to give back. I want to help your organization." And I was just like blown away, right? But we talked through it, and what she'd like to do is have a meeting on Mondays. And so a Mentoring Mondays meeting. And this is going to launch on March 14th. It'll be 11 a.m. meetings. And what happens is, similar to our meetups, we all kind of get in the room together, kick it off, and then we do breakout rooms. But for this one, it will be the same people in that breakout room for 6 months. And so you're going to talk about your goals, what you're trying to accomplish, and then you're going to have this team of people helping you and holding you accountable. And I just think that is wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah.
It is free. It's not something that is that she's charging us to do. So we just want to thank you, Stacy. Thanks for thinking of us, and really looking forward to joining you on March the 14th.
I think it's a really good opportunity, especially if you feel like you're in this maybe stagnant place of either personal growth or professional growth, and you just kind of need that extra boost of energy or people to be your cheerleaders. I think it's a really great opportunity. And there was a lot of good feedback on our call about it.
Yeah, I was going to say also, if you're looking to serve, right, you're looking to be a mentor for others, join us, because that's really what we're doing. It's creating that mentor-mentee environment. And so I think it's going to be great.
Perfect. We're also launching a book club. Check out empoweringwomeninindustry.com for more information on that. We're still deciding what time exactly that's going to be, but it's going to be with Gail Rudolph's book, Power Up, Power Down. She was on our call and gave us some fantastic insight into what that's going to be about. Mm-hmm. And then the next Empowering Pumps meetup, if you're listening to this when it comes out on Monday, is actually tomorrow, Tuesday, February 15th. It's at 10 a.m. Central, and we're going to be joined by special guest James Soto with Industrial Marketing. I'm super excited about that, just to tap into his knowledge about marketing in this space and get some tips from him.
He also is super passionate about inclusion, and he's reached out to me several times just following our brands, and I'm excited to hear too what he sees from his perspective being in that industrial marketing space for so long. So yeah, he's great to talk to for sure.
Pre-register. The link is in the show notes. When you register, you'll be sent the Zoom link, and turn your camera on, introduce yourself, say hi. We'd love to have you.
Okay. And you can also stay connected with us at Empowering Pumps or using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. Some people have done some sharing of the podcast lately, Bethany. So I'm really excited about that. And so I'm going to mention some of them here. Melanie Homer, she's the VP and Reuse National Practice Lead for Brown and Caldwell. I love that company, by the way. But just anybody else that we can meet from there is wonderful. So thank you for sharing.
I think they're still the number one listened, downloaded episode of the podcast is the episode we did with them.
And it's important because, one, it's been shared because the content is important. And kind of going back to our sustainability summit, this is what we all have to understand and learn about, right? The other person I wanted to highlight is John Lafave. He is the Queensland's manager. Okay. And so note Queensland, that is in Australia. So I was just too excited about Australia. I couldn't get past that. But we're talking about the Queen, she's all over Australia. But anyway, he is from Fit Resources, and he was also a U.S. Naval nuclear propulsion school is where he attended. But I just think it's fascinating how many rotating equipment people that we have coming out of the Navy. And so thank you, Navy, for training all of them. And you know how much I love Australia. So thanks for making me happy about that today. What about you, Beth?
The fun thing about that is to see the reach of the podcast and the reach of our audience and this community that we've been building, that it reaches all the way to Australia makes my heart really happy. And my shout out today was for Fred Shinkelberg. He's a reliability engineer and management consultant who also shared the podcast. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who shares it. We put a lot of time and thought and effort and love into this podcast to share all this content with you. And so it really means a lot when you help spread it around to other people in your network. So thank you very much. Okay, today for the podcast, we are going to be talking all about how you can build your personal brand into your company brand and how you can really bring those together to get an even bigger impact for both brands. So what is it? This is when you elevate your personal brand through your business by highlighting who you are on an individual level through whether it's a campaign, a product, a message. It's something that you're sharing from your business but about you. Famous examples of this that we think about is, Steve Jobs at Apple. Everybody knows Steve Jobs is Apple, or Richard Branson is a Virgin. But there are some fun ones, I think, in this industry that we're just going to give some props to real quick for building their personal brand and integrating it so well with their business brand as well. Why don't you highlight some of those for us, Charli?
Yeah, it's really hard. She was asking me, okay, who should we feature? And I'm like, okay, there's a lot there. So I'm just this is just the top ones off of the top of my head. I'm sorry if I left you out. It's just because I didn't want to go on and on and on and on. But people I've talked to recently, Shadrach Stevens with Re-Engineer, Kaylee Looney, who is an advocate for STEM, Emily, she is with Emily Solaby with Hazard Girls Community, Jen Muir, who is, really building her brand around pump system optimization, Rob Calvarowski with his Leadership Launchpad, Steve Hernandez, the WaterWise Pro, and then David Reed with NOV. He has a special awareness program for human trafficking, and how that has integrated with their company. I have loved watching that grow. And so there's so many ways that you can do that and what you stand for, but I'll let you go. Why do we do this, right? Why do we do this? And it's because people trust people, right? And so all those people that I just listed, I trust them. I connect with them as people. And we want to, make sure we connect with people and give them a person instead of a company. Your company stands for something, but when it's connected to a person, it really causes a greater brand recognition and like that trust development because it's people to people.
Yes. And I think sometimes maybe there's a fear of tying your personal brand too much to your business brand, because what if you go and take a different job somewhere else, or what if some XYZ happens? I would just say you're in your company right now, you're committed to your company's mission. Just make that leap. People aren't going to forget who you are if you are suddenly not tied with that company anymore. But the benefits you can get from bringing them together, I think, are worth it in the immediate.
Absolutely.
So
worth it to you and your company.
yes, 100%. So we're going to walk you through 4 ways you can build your personal brand through your company brand. The first one being to create your personal brand's mission in a way that melds with your company's values. So decide what you want, what your mission is for your personal brand outside of just making a sale. I'm not talking like, hey, I need to make some sales and get some commissions here. But is it to educate people? Is it to share the industry story? We've been talking a lot about that. Is it to help people find solutions to their problems? And then you look at your company's value statement and you find where the overlap could be there. And so think of it as a Venn diagram, and where you find in that middle is where you want to live with your personal brand. And so our example is, me personally, I'm really passionate. I want to educate people on how to use social media in this B2B industrial space. And Charli, I know, is a super connector and loves to connect people in this industry. And then empowering as a company, we want to connect, inform, and educate. And so where Charli and I found that we can fit our personal brand into that is we created this podcast where we're educating people, we're connecting people, and that's how we were able to bring our personal and the company brand together.
Yeah.
Well, Charli, you do it all the time with everything and empowering, but this is me where I find my niche, I guess, in the company,
Well, I was going to say, this is our strengths, right? Like we've pulled together this podcast out of our strengths. So it's not just, only looking at the values. This is our knowledge and expertise that we have brought to this company, empowering. And so I think with the personal branding side and definitely one of your strengths, Bethany, that makes sense for bringing it onto the podcast. I don't think we could have that without talking about our personal brand, just like we can't have the podcast without talking about social media, right? I think it's really important. Okay. So I could go on and on, but I'll stay with our bullets here. Okay. So the next thing we wanted to talk about is to be visible on your company's content. So what I mean by that is, are you writing posts that goes out on your company brands? So you could write, a number of blogs. You can do webinars and podcasts. I think podcasts for all of industry is something that we need to look at. So if you're not doing that at your company, you should. And if you want, some tips, then we have some podcast episodes that we can point you to. But yeah, be on videos, content that your company is sharing, create some reels or some, just videos and posts of your personal brand through your company. And you may have to do something. You may have to talk to the people at your company and see what their marketing plan is and see how you can tie in your thought leadership and see if they have a camera. Don't be afraid of the camera. You will get better and better each time you get in front of it. I was scared of the camera, not like Bethany's camera, but the video camera, when it comes out, I'm like, okay, but you get over that after you do it several times. You loosen up. It's not so nerve-wracking. And I would just say, yeah, don't be afraid of it. Jump out there, see what your expertise is. Is it writing posts? Is it creating videos? But dabble in all of it because it's fun.
I guarantee you go to your marketing people and you're like, hey, I would like to help contribute some content. They're going to be like, give me a hug. This sounds wonderful. Maybe your marketing department, maybe your company is huge and you got some channels to go through, but it's worth it because they want your content to share with their audience. Which brings us to our third point, which is be the subject matter expert. Find your niche topic. Find what you like to explain. What there's always these questions people ask you that say, what could you talk about for 30 minutes without notes? I think that's a great place to start. Something that you enjoy talking about with people. And then also think about it as something that is providing value other than making a sale. Is anywhere you can add value to your clients by giving them information that they need. That's key to gaining your audience, building your audience trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just say on the matter of being a subject matter expert, just never quit learning. Always find something new that you can learn and share with other people. I think it's a good way to build your personal brand.
Yeah, and it makes me think of the podcasters in our industry and how much learning that when they interview someone that they receive, right? With our, I don't know, hundreds of episodes now, I feel like I've learned so much from the people that we have on here. So the other thing that we wanted to share with you, number 4, is to cross promote. And anytime that your company, promotes you, features you, first say thank you, but then share it, share it to your larger audience. You're going to have your company's audience, and then you're going to have yours, people who, care about you and are connected to you. And that really does grow its reach. And that's what you want. Any like or share just adds to that effect of growing your network. And that post, the reach of the post.
Yes.
Okay. One great example is Becca, who is creating the self-care series. I think she's on like 4 or 5 now, and she does this to empower women. And we have seen each time that she shares it, right? You're bringing in her personal network, which grows our audience of empowering women. And so just love that. And it's not just empowering women, because when she shares it, it goes across the board, right? So her network and all encompassing to see, okay, self-care is important. Here's some tips. I remember Ron Farsard mentioning that he had seen it. And so, that's wonderful. And yeah, that's what it's all about. So I'll just say, I like personal branding because it helps you find your mission and something that you would be willing to stand next to every day and work hard for every day and stay in your values. And that's what keeps an employee working for you. They feel fulfilled and on mission with their personal life. And so I guess that's what I'll leave y'all with. Reach out, see how you can build your personal brand in alignment with your company, because that's really going to help, keep the momentum of your work-life balance and all that fun stuff. So, okay.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. Now we are going to transition into the news. This is where we're going to preview some news that's coming to your inbox this week in the Empowering Pumps and Equipment newsletter. We always start with our industry person of the week. And this week, I want to make a big plug to get people to nominate people for our industry person of the week. It's very simple. The link is in the show notes. You put in their name and their email, and we'll contact them. And then if we contact you to be an industry person of the week, all you got to do is answer some questions, send your picture back, and we'll feature you. I think it's a great way to build your personal brand, give you some content that your company could share and you as well, and give you that pat on the back that you deserve that maybe you haven't been getting recently,
Yeah. But if somebody nominated you, you deserve it, and you should step out there and say, yes, okay, I will let you share this content about me, step out of my comfort zone. If that's you, and me, it's not a problem for me, but if that's you, do that.
We're 106 episodes in. I think we're past being a little nervous about it, but we understand that some people are, but we're just here to encourage you to do it.
Yeah. And there's lots of positive reasons, like we said, around personal branding, why you would want to do that and share your story and vision. Today, I'm going to share a story for you from United Electric Controls. It's going to be about the best maintenance ally is information. When I read that earlier, I was just like, that's really cool. Information is key right now. Are we talking data? What are we talking about, right? So they're going to talk about, for instrumentation engineers and, technicians, the worst nightmare for all of them is when they are called in the middle of the night, probably, for an unexpected shutdown. And so
or
they
like
offer
a T-ball game or something that's, they don't want to have to leave.
That's right. It's definitely going to be when you don't want to have to run to the office or the plant. Okay, so UE has a solution for that. It's the UE1 series Smart Switch, which comes with many features for support instrumentation in the field. The most powerful tool for any technician in the field, they say. And it offers multiple features to help field operators troubleshoot their plants. The bypass line is helpful to serve big equipment. It also has a source of mistakes when they are not properly set up. So it's going to tell you all these little, I guess, whether it's a failure mode or not. And so I think just take a look at it and see how they can help you not keep you up at night, right? Okay, the author, though, David, is a design engineer with over 20 years experience in engineering. And so I always like to say that, like, when they're creating something like this, he has the experience. He's got you in mind, right? He has you in mind as he built this. So take a look at UE. They have a lot of great resources on our site as well.
Yep. My article that I'm going to preview for you comes to us from our partner, Triangle Pump Components, Inc., and they are expanding their manufacturing facility. So due to increased demand, they are happy to share that they are growing their facility with additional staff and physical space. The facility construction began in September 2021. It has increased space for new machines, including robotics, which I think is pretty cool, which would make their manufacturing process 30 to 50% faster and doubles their inventory capabilities. Plus, they've added new staff and they wanted to highlight a person. One of the new people that they brought on is an applications engineer, Tracy Curtin, with over 20 years of experience. So definitely check out the article, find out all the fun stuff that's going on at Triangle Pump. And I just see it as a good sign of growth in general for our industry, that demand is going up and these companies are able to meet that in exciting new ways.
So welcome to the industry, Tracy. We are so excited for you.
Yep. Okay, now on to a really fun segment of the podcast. We have our industry interview. And we teased it a little bit. The guest we have on is a podcast host himself. And I think he talks a whole lot about how he's brought his personal brand and really made it mesh well with his company brand and how he does that through the podcast. And so I hope you just stick with us here, listen to the interview. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Charlie, introduce our guest. I got so excited.
I know. Well, this is what we love about the podcasters in our industry. Mike Murphy actually met Bethany at WefTech. And so I have a great picture of the two of them, nerding out on podcasting. But he has over 18 years experience at ABB. He's done all kinds of different tasks there. And really, this helps be a podcast host because he has all that knowledge and experience and understanding about their products and their customers. And so he's currently a segment communication lead at ABB. He's based in Greenville, South Carolina, a beautiful place. And
you can hear that in his accent, by the way, in case you wanted to preview for that.
Well, I think it's great. I think, he's been,
I love it.
I love Greenville. That's where my in-laws live. And I just think about and imagine just, being downtown and hanging out. So he will be, well, I was going to say he was a training specialist. I didn't list that there, but I think that's important because the way that he goes through these podcasts and interviews anyone, it doesn't have to be just for ABB people. He can interview other people outside of ABB, but he works with product managers and focuses on target industries to promote the right product with the right message, right? And so it does actually help ABB and the company as we have content to promote and send things out as well.
Charlie talked about when we met. It was he was the first person that I met in person that listened to the show and then was like, hey, I know y'all's show. I really like it. I have this show. You should listen to it, blah, blah, blah. And it was just this very, I don't know, weird moment because it was my first event since COVID, I think, that I had been to. And so I just hadn't had that opportunity yet. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, we're so amazing. Somebody listens to the podcast. Forget the thousands and thousands of downloads that there've been. But I know I see this real person now. But
That's right. It's the thing about about being in person and someone saying something about the podcast. It doesn't feel the same because, you're online all the time and there's so it's a completely different vibe. So I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Bethany's famous online as well as in person.
But Mike,
I have to tell you,
yes.
Bethany, Carly, she downloaded the podcast on Spotify, and she said, "Is the podcast on Spotify?" Because she has it through Carter, and I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Can I do a podcast?" And I'm like, "We've done it. We have won. We have inspired the next generation to podcast." So it was wonderful.
I love her. She's wonderful. Okay, everyone, here is your interview with Mike Murphy.
Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, Mike. I'm so happy to be able to just spend some time with you today. I feel like I just met you. I mean, October was a while ago, but it feels like, you're new to me, not new to the industry. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and kind of tell people, what you do.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, great meeting you. That was back in October at WebTech. I apologize for jumping up and down and clapping. I don't know if that was professional or not, but no, it was awesome seeing you at the booth and your team. So it was really cool. Mike Murphy.
I have to give Bethany a quick shout out here because she's my co-host and she gets to go to a couple of different shows with us. And I think she was pretty excited about meeting you as well. So I'll let you get into who you are. Sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, appreciated our selfie we took, even though we were masked up. But yeah, no, it was really cool. Mike Murphy with ABB. My title is Segment Communications Lead. What that means in layman's terms, basically, I work with the group and I choose or help them choose within a targeted industry the right product with the right messaging. So what that messaging could mean is, say, for example, like a digital marketing campaign or an email blast. Lately, it's heavily been involved with trade shows. And then most recently, the ABB Solutions Podcast. So love what I'm doing, and currently been in my role for about 2.5 years now.
Yeah, well, I am excited. I want to go in deep dive into the Solutions Podcast. But first, I'm always curious how you got into the industry. I mean, this pump and equipment world is just wild to be in with marketing as our background here. But what about you? How did you get into it?
Sure. Well, I hope you're sitting down. But there was a job application for a customer service rep, and I applied. No, nothing groundbreaking. Awesome. Right. I've done the waiting tables working in retail. So at the time, an 8 to 5 with weekends off sounded pretty cool. But Charlie, it wasn't until a few years in when I started doing plant surveys. So I was out in the field for about 5 or 6 years. And that was the springboard moment, right? Not to sound cheesy, but that's when I kind of went from job to career, because then I actually got to see where our products that we manufactured went, right? So now that motor actually did something. It rotated. It moved fluid through a pump, or it sent packages down a conveyor belt. That was cool. Got bit by the bug. Have been bit ever since. Probably like yourself, I can't go on vacation without pointing at something like, "Ooh, look at that bucket elevator in the back," or something like that, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So love the industry. Kind of happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I was just recording with someone else this week, and we had the same thing. It's just you see it everywhere, the industry, and you notice that it's part of your daily life, and that it you couldn't have the things that you just need to live without what we do every day or what the people around us do every day, and ABB is a special company. I've met so many people there, and I'm just curious from your perspective, because you've been there for a while now. What is it about ABB for you that keeps you there?
So I'll go back to industry, right? Let's talk about 3 big applications: pumps, fans, and conveyors, right? You'll see ABB on all of that. And to me, that's pretty cool. They literally help make the world go round. And what's really special about being with a company like that is they're very aware of reducing that carbon footprint to make product more efficient. They want customers to succeed. Speaking toward the culture, they want us to succeed. I know management has got my back. They give me opportunities to grow, to develop.
Well, I think what you're trying, what I'm seeing you say is that, it keeps you working there, which is not a negative thing to say, right?
No, for sure. Yes.
It's basically, they're good to you. They provide, what you need for a career and gives you lots of opportunities, which one of those opportunities I do want to go into with this Solutions podcast, because I'm a podcaster now. I don't know how that happened, but when you meet somebody that does that as well, you're like, okay, I know what you're going through here to develop it and kind of produce with someone. I have Bethany, thankfully, to help me, but there is something about, the content that goes into it and providing, something that people want to listen to. So, what is the Solutions podcast and how do you go about, creating that?
Sure. Great question. So this really kind of happened to kind of complement a webinar series that we've done, just kind of like many other companies out there. We were trying to find a different reach to our audience, especially during times when we couldn't be face to face. So a podcast was not new to ABB. ABB does have other podcasts. They do some globally. I know our robotics division has a podcast series. But to be more industry focused in the U.S., this was kind of a new thing. So they knew my background. They knew I was kind of helping run some of our webinar series. They're like, hey, Mike, what do you think about doing a podcast series? I jumped at the chance, Charlie. It was awesome. I love talking shop. Like you said, yeah, it does take some work up front to identify a topic that's relatable, that's kind of solution focus. And I know it's in our title, but it's worth repeating that it's not a sales pitch, right? It's not a sales, tool. It's a solution tool. So it's talking about, maybe efficiencies or overcoming those cavitation issues in your pumping application. So it's not necessarily selling a product. We're just trying to provide a solution.
Right. And you have a lot of solutions there that do require products, but also services. And, just being able to talk to the people on your teams, it really, the sky's the limit there as far as bringing in talent. But, figuring out, okay, what time to talk about what topic, I think is really important too. And, when I think about podcasts in general, I just think, okay, this is a new media that we can share to reach everyone. But what for you, when you're developing these, is there something, or I guess a moment or a podcast that you really enjoyed or something that stands out to you?
We did a few and kind of more targeted on the water series. What I guess jumped out to me for those few that we did was I hadn't had a chance to work with our industry experts at the time, and it just was amazing at their level of knowledge and how they took what I thought was a complicated subject and helped someone like me understand it. I really appreciated that, and I also like the fact that I oftentimes still walk away with learning something new, which is always nice. But yeah, to your point, it's you're starting out with that broad topic, and then you're kind of trying to develop that cadence, if you will, the back and forth. Because I don't want to just say, hey, talk about how ABB can help someone, in the digital world. No, you want kind of that back and forth. But I always walk away learning something new, which is great. But yeah, there were some water topics we've done that were pretty informative. And then I've gone on and since to work with them and met a few of them at some of the trade shows. So it's kind of nice when you work with folks on projects like this, and then all of a sudden you get the opportunity to see them face to face. That's really cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about that and kind of all these ways that podcasts are useful, right? One, you just said, you can really connect with people, and it gives you an excuse to kind of go back to them and, first invite them to the podcast, right? But then, you've got something now to talk to them about. What about from your perspective? How do you find it useful?
Well, I think one thing is it's informative, and it's one less PowerPoint we have to go through. We're just inundated with a lot of slides today, right?
Especially after being, in the world of figuring out how to connect virtually. There was a lot of that going on.
Right.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
So I like to say, hey, our audio recordings of podcasts are PowerPoint free. Not to say we might not offer pieces of collateral to go in addition to, but no, I think that's great. You don't you need less setup, right? It's kind of nice when all you need is an app and you can listen to some informative messaging on the go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that about your podcast too. It's the ones I listen to are about 20 minutes or so, and you can, I guess, podcasts in general. I mean, you can listen to that. I mean, I can even listen to a podcast when I'm drying my hair, which is, a big feature, because otherwise you're just kind of feel like you're wasting your time during that. And so I really like that it's transportable with you all the time, and it kind of just gets you thinking, right? So what is ABB about, for one? What kind of solutions do they provide? You can kind of just put that on an auto playlist and kind of learn a lot. Learn who the individual parties are within your organization around a specific topic. So I liked that. I felt like I know who the industry expert is on that topic now. But what's next? What do you have plans for next?
I'm always casting that net out, right? Trying to find, that next, that sounds like a great topic. At the conclusion of everything I record, Charli, I like to open our platform. And again, people can just Google us at, ABB Solutions Podcast and go right to our landing page. But I also send out our email site, if maybe they can think of anything like a common problem, or just how there was an issue and there was there was a way that they resolved it. We'd love to hear from them. So we're always trying to identify new products, new solutions in the industry too, which I think also can kind of set us apart as well.
Yeah. So for our listeners, you are inviting people who are using ABB and kind of giving kind of case studies or stories about how they've worked with them, not just within ABB itself.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it's just more solution focused. I go back to, empowering pumps. I kind of use y'all as almost like a benchmark. Yeah, you and your team are doing an awesome job. Side note, congrats on the upcoming 100th episode. That's awesome.
Yes.
But yeah. So it again is not a selling point, and we are really adamant about that. We don't want to just come across as, hey, have we got a deal for you? We want to take again in any application in any industry, identify that right industry expert. And again, it's just that make it conversational. Like you said, so while you're blow drying your hair, or you've got a little bit of time in the car, or maybe as you're working, just be able to have something playing on in the background. That's kind of our goal, especially for next year.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we have plenty of topics coming up out of the gate that we, have to talk about. So we can definitely share some of that with you. But I liked what you said about kind of, empowering pumps, kind of setting that bar, and you're kind of following along with us. But I like to see our industry taking a hold of this and really producing for themselves, right? I love seeing your platform and how you're using that and making it your own. And I just want, more people to do that, because I think, just like anything, I can remember my first Facebook Live, right? It's so challenging right at the start, right? And so the more that you get to experience that, and you get that practice being able to talk on a podcast, and then you're going to be able to talk on a video or a video camera, then you're on the stage, et cetera. So it's just like this growth pattern. And I think podcasting allows you to do that in a way that you first of all, you don't even have to be on the camera, right? So you can just be audio. And that's how we started too. And then you're like, okay, I got this down. I got my script. I know how, you're supposed to kind of interact with this, from resources to just our presence and speaking to our YouTubers now, right? Where they can see you. I think it's a natural progression. And I hope that, our industry will continue to do that. I'm seeing a lot more of that. And, any tips that you would give them in starting a podcast?
No. Well, real quick, just to kind of piggyback on what you said, I couldn't agree more. Just the steps I've had in my career have certainly, grown in that confidence, being able to speak to an industry expert about a particular topic. And one, I think, still having a really strong and general interest in industry, that takes you really far. If someone were to start a podcast, I would certainly start there. Find a topic that you're interested in, because people can tell if you're on camera. They can hear it. They can hear it in your voice if you're interested or not. So I would certainly start there. I don't believe you need the high tech equipment. So that
well,
that's
if we did, I would have been out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I'm still wearing a headset that I look like I'm about to listen to my parents' records right now. So,
hey, whatever works, at least you're not hearing yourself on repeat. That's something, y'all. If you don't have headphones, then you'll hear the echo, and you're going to be completely off after that.
Right. And just keep at it. Yeah. Just keep practicing. I know my first few. You can tell a difference between the first few and as we progress. But yeah, that's at least what I would recommend. But I can't stress enough to find start with the topic you're interested in, and then branch out to ones that you're not. But people can tell, and people will start to listen.
Well, I have to say, I met you at WebTech, and I thought, okay, I want him on the podcast. You're just full of energy and excitement, and that is exactly what you want on a podcast. And, I wanted to know a little bit more about your background, and it sounds like, you've got this sales personality that connects to marketing, which is always an interesting couple, and it's needed. And so if you can get that and that curiosity is what you're really talking about. Like, I want to know about you, right? And I want to know, how I can connect you to the industry more, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's really what we like to hear. And I think that you have that too, right? I want to hear your story. I want to see, okay, how does this benefit both our listeners and our company? Because that is an aspect to it. We can't just talk to our best friends about nothing, right? It's how can we create this message that's going out that's valuable to everybody? And it does start with being genuinely curious about who they are, what they do, and how you can help them. So, I hope that people will take this as a message to get started on a podcast, or to be a guest, right? If they don't want to be the host of one, just to say yes to being a guest, and kind of sharing in their story. Is there anything from, that you would like to leave our listeners with, from your perspective, just in general, about this kind of digital space or podcasting?
Really, just stay interested. Just keep, I sign up for a lot of different industrial, magazines, and I follow podcasts like yours. And it's just trying to stay, connected, stay current. There's certain industrial publications that, you never know when they might come up with a specific topic that, kind of catches your eye. And then it gets that click, right? That we all know and want. So that, I'm learning so much just now, having been more exposed to podcasts. I know my eyes are starting to gravitate a little bit more, where they used to not go. So, and then just seeing what other people are doing. But yeah, just stay engaged and keep that interest level up. The industry, we're in a great industry. I just hope, the future of this industry still sees a lot of the same enthusiasm that I know you and I have. So.
Yeah. And I hope that people will do that, exactly that, look out, who can they connect with? I mean, we do have some really strong leaders, both in the industry space as well as, marketing, platforms that are talking about how to be better marketers. The other side of that is, industry with like, what are the challenges, right? We've talked a lot about supply chain issues, and I've loved, learning about circularity and where we're going. And so if we can talk about industry and what's out there and what's happening today, then we'll really better understand for tomorrow. And for our history buffs, if you look at the past, you can see some of that coming back too. So there's a lot out there of just genuine knowledge that we want to have recorded so that we can share it. I think this helps with, the knowledge and skills gap that we have and that will continue to grow. Hopefully being, the solution. And I'm saying, a lot. So Bethany should have a field day with this and, editing. But I do want everybody to think about it and know that they can participate. And there's such a great industry that they can be involved with. So both people listening from the perspective of how do I get into this industry? And then for our marketers out there, you can create a podcast. You can look for opportunities for your team to be on a podcast. Yeah. So I just say, I'm with you. I second that. Get involved, stay engaged, and just be interested. I remember someone calling me, saying that I just seem interested. And I'm like, I like that. That's a phrase or description that I would like to be labeled as. So, thank you so much for your time. I'll give you the last word here, Mike. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks again. It was great having me here on your Empowering Pumps podcast. Awesome seeing you at WebTech. Hope to see you maybe at another show coming up next year. But yeah, if anybody would like to check us out, please Google us at the ABB Solutions Podcast. We're on all major channels. But yeah, please check us out.
Awesome.
And we're back. Mike, thanks so much for coming on the show. I love having fellow podcasters on the show, and not only because you have the right equipment to use, even though that is a bonus. But everyone, let us know what you thought. Tell us if you were inspired to start a podcast, because I felt that way, like that was a little bit of the message he was trying to get to us. But
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thanks so much for, just saying yes, Mike, and getting outside of your comfort zone. And that brings us to the end of our show, Bethany. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, do us a favor, subscribe, rate and review the podcast. We love to see it.
You can always reach us at Empowering Pumps using the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast, or email us podcast@empoweringpumps.com.
And we'll be back next week with a new episode.
So until then, be empowering.